Hello folks, it's Work in Progress Wednesday. I'm ready to do some fine line masking on this body and the hood. Then I'll be painting the primary color after I get it masked off. So this is going to be a video showing me how I tape. I already got one side taped off. I'm just doing subtle striping on the main part of the body. So this is 1/64 inch masking tape. This is the brand. I guess it's pronounced Azu, 0.4 millimeter, but it's basically 1/64 of an inch. This is the absolute thinnest tape that I can find. And like I said before, this is like working with a spider web. I already have some strips cut out because it's so hard to find the end, if it rolls back onto the tape. So now I'm going to work on the other side. Just following the body line, the upper body line here for this guy. And this way I'll have a nice little red pinstripe here, and I'm going to have a little striping on the hood, on the trunk, and a little bit on the hood. This is going to be pretty simple because I'm going to have a little bit more going on the roof. That's why the roof is masked off. This roof's going to be a little bit different. And the roof is not going to be the main body color either. So now let me get to this side. This is fairly easy, except trying to handle this. It's just like getting it started. I always leave a tail on the end. Again, I'm just following that upper body line, trying to keep the tape as straight as possible, laying it down with my thumb. Follow the kick down here. And back up. Well, hot damn. That piece is way too short. That's bad on my part. Let's see, this one should be longer. Try this again. Yeah, that one's longer. That one's going to be long enough. This stuff is just so fine to work with. I'm just staying right below that edge, like I said. That upper body line edge. If you hear me stop talking, it's because I got my mind thinking too much on the tape. I'll try and keep the conversation going for everybody. And this is the Revell Dodge Dart, 1968 Dodge Dart, by the way. I'm building a drag version of this car. So since there's going to be sponsorship decals and such on the body, I'm not doing a lot on the body. And I want to kick down here. Like that. Oh, I got to straighten that out a little bit. I'm looking at each side comparing. Okay. Looking down, looks pretty straight. I'll have to straighten that up a little bit. I'm not pulling it very tight, but just tight enough to hold it straight because I don't want it recoiling in on itself. Yeah, that's better. And I just don't want to cut this off on a blunt edge. I'm going to take my knife. That way it's more of a point. And I'm just taking the blade and just rocking it a little bit on that tape to cut it. It doesn't take much. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I want more of a point instead of a blunt edge. Now I'm not pressing down hard. I'm just pressing down enough because my blade is sharp. I don't need to put a lot of pressure, just enough to cut through the tape. See that? So that's just going to be a nice simple stripe on the upper part of the body. And then I'll let the decals and what have you, do the rest of the talking on the sides. The sponsorship decals. For this one, I'm just going to follow the trunk line. I'm going to stay off the trunk line just a little bit. With this thin tape, the other thing that's difficult is you hardly feel, at least with my fingers, I hardly feel like which side is the adhesive side. And then once it sticks to your hand, then you know it. Just trying to keep this somewhat simple. It's a race car after all. But something cool. not going to run this video for too long. I'll probably make a few different parts of it. To give you an idea of what I'm doing, how the tape process works. I'm going to trim some of these ends off before I get too far ahead of myself. Again, I'm just barely using the tip of the knife. Sharp knives matter. And a lot of this work I would do under a magnifying glass too, so I can see where the joints of the tape are. You can see I've used hardly any pressure. Again, this 9mm, oh shoot, this 9mm break apart blade, awful blade, it's my favorite. Try that again. Also, I do a lot of this work on my lap, actually. I'm going to get a longer piece of tape. That's a little bit too short for my liking. I don't have a good tail to hold on to. I like to have room to hold on to extra to help me position it better. And you can go as crazy as you want with this. It's just how much time you want to take, the look you're after. Like I said, I wanted just wanted something simple for the body. Alrighty, now for the hood. Thinking just a short minute here. And then one thing, I'm going to go like this on the scoop. I could really go crazy with this body. This body has a lot of nice lines, but that's not my intention. If it was more like a show street car per se, if I was building it as a street car maybe, I would really go all out with the taping and the graphics. But it's a drag car, so I'm just going with something you may see at the track. Somebody, you know, has a nice car, but they didn't go overly fancy with it. Telling you, magnifying glass worked wonders here. I got to pull that in. I tell you, when we're dealing with 1/64 of an inch, trying to find where the all the tape joints are at, kind of hard to see sometimes. Arg. Alrighty. What I think we're going to do here I meant to grab some other tape. Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to put down a center line here. This is just for a guide, what I want to do for the hood. If you're smart, you would measure this, but I think I'm going to get it close enough where I want. And I'm just going to have a guide. Let me trim that off. There you go. That's gonna be a guide. What I think I'll do is I'm gonna cut myself some more strips here. I know it seems like waste of tape, but when it's hard to handle, you got to give yourself extra. That should be enough. Trying to get the little bits off my fingertips. Let's see what we got here. on the curve of the hood, the back of the hood. Just when you think you have it straight, you don't. All right. Now sometimes, just like the center hair, where I use it as a guide to space my tape evenly, sometimes I'll lay other tape along the edges so I can use that as a guide to make sure everything is spaced out evenly. But in this case, I just think I can get it close enough where it should look pretty good. Shooting for something symmetrical. Before I get too much further, I'm going to trim my overlaps. Back to the magnifying glass. Just take your time. Sharp knives, sharp blades. Oh shit. Oh well. I pulled it before I cut it. I pulled the wrong one. Oh well. It's tape. It's fixable. Let me just push it back with my thumb. Back to where I wanted it. Get all this stuff off my fingers first before I go any further. Make my adjustments from where it moved. All right. And I'm going to go along and make sure everything is pushed down. Now, I don't use a squeegee, I just make sure that it's nice and down to avoid any paint bleeding under. Make sure the tape's in its proper place. I've said it before, I have a love-hate relationship with this extra fine tape. ton of them. Okay, anyhow. Arg. That wasn't smart. Oh well. Try this again. That was dumb. Alrighty. Got this piece right underneath the hood scoop that can't quite grab. There we go. Now to run one more piece along the front. I'll be done with this part and ready for paint. Trying to get tape off my thumb, my fingers. Working to follow the contours of the hood. ready. Trim those up. You're ready to go. Sometimes I spend more time getting the tape off my fingertips than I do taping. It's a fight, I tell you, a fight. There we go. Now I'm going to go and just make sure everything is down as it should. Just push it down, make sure all the tape is down. And then I'm going to paint. I'm going to throw some paint on here. Yeah, it's going to be a darker color. It's actually going to be black. Well, what the heck was that? I got things falling around all over me. Anyway, there we go. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care, guys. Stay tuned.